Bloober Team's updated reimagining of Konami's most celebrated horror title left us a tad cold in its initial opening hours, but there's still potential for it to improve. I've always considered Bloober Team an interesting choice to be the one tasked with remaking what many people consider one of the best survival horror games of all time. Don't get me wrong, I appear to be one of the few critics who immensely enjoyed the Polish studio's previous titles, namely Observer and Layers of Fear before it. But for most others, there's been a sense that Konami could have found a more capable set of hands to tell a video game story notorious for its, shall we say, delicate ideas and themes. After getting hands-on time with Silent Hill 2's opening hours, I can now relate to this concern, but surprisingly, not due to anything narrative related. Everything looks and plays totally fine, I suppose. More worrying is the fact that I failed to see what will give it an edge over the other recent survival horror remakes we've had. First things first, for those unaware, while this remake of the 2001 original is called Silent Hill 2, newcomers can rest easy knowing that this is an entirely standalone tale. You play as James Sunderland, a seemingly ordinary bloke with weird hair and a permanent facial expression of gross concern who has been called to the incredibly foggy and fright-ridden titular town in search of his wife who he thought had died years ago. What follows is a journey of self-discovery of sorts, requiring a mixture of exploration, puzzle solving, and rifling through random drawers. Obviously, the major difference between this and the original game is the sharp change of perspective. Similar to Capcom's widely celebrated remake of Resident Evil 2 from 2019, this new and improved version of Silent Hill 2 swaps out the fixed camera angles for a more refined over-the-shoulder view. In many ways, this presents Silent Hill in a much better light than we've ever seen before, no doubt looking much improved thanks to such high-fidelity graphics. In theory, the camera angle and new visuals should make the spooky sights James plays witness to far more claustrophobic and terrifying, but both only work so well when what's in the fog tends to feel less scary as soon as you know what's in it. Seeing as my preview demo picked up right at the very start of the game, I can safely say that the Silent Hill 2 remake does a pretty good job setting the scene. Moving from James's car, through a forest path, and then finally the gates of Silent Hill itself, all of the pieces are here to make your slow approach to the ensuing horror incredibly unsettling. Playing in performance mode at 60 FPS on PlayStation 5, the locations and fog density definitely have atmosphere. Unfortunately, I couldn't fully enjoy and soak this in, as it wasn't long after this that combat was introduced, which has been purposely made to be overly clumsy. Ask Bloober Team and it'll say James Sunderland's nature as an everyman means this is deliberate, but I don't think it helps that the first weapon you pick up is a plank with nails in. Taking on the initial armless enemies is a simple case of awkwardly dodging out of the way whenever they charge, before repeatedly mashing the R2 button in a way that felt far from satisfying. Thankfully, combat took a better turn as soon as I was able to find a gun, which Bloober Team rather smartly makes you wait quite a long time to receive. Aiming is definitely not a breeze either, but it still felt less repetitive than James's basic melee strikes and gave me greater control of the situation. Silent Hill 2's early hours mostly consist of exploring the streets of the town amidst the fog, nipping back and forth between shops and eateries in a bid to solve a relatively simple vinyl record puzzle. The game's nature to tick off locations on James's map as soon as they're no longer useful serves as a good guide to not waste players' time, and this first major puzzle was a great way to learn the routes of where you can explore immediately and where remains cut off until later. Following this, my demo mainly saw me comb through various different apartment blocks, which were detailed enough, but unfortunately can't claim to be anywhere near as iconic as the RPD headquarters from Resident Evil 2. My time with Silent Hill 2 culminated in a boss fight against the one and only Pyramid Head, forcing me to avoid his sweeping attacks by guiding him in and around the room's obstacles as I popped off shots from afar. It was hardly the most in-depth encounter, but it's understandable given that this is likely the remake's first major boss fight. The character's look certainly gave him an imposing presence, indicating that Bloober Team perfectly understands this iconic enemy's reputation both in and outside of the franchise. My only hope is that there's more mechanical complexity to later encounters, as heavily suggested once the town's bell tolled, causing him to slope off unceremoniously. I'm caught in two minds about my time with the Silent Hill 2 remake. On the one hand, Bloober Team appears to have done a bang-up job presenting the titular town in its spookiest light yet, complete with fun puzzles to solve and a really great 2024 coat of paint. On the other hand, melee combat feels cumbersome in a way that might make sense for the character of James, but not necessarily for players. Overall, I left my 3-hour preview enthused that Silent Hill 2 hopefully has a lot more surprises up its sleeve. Are you concerned equally as I am, or are you still excited about what's to come? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below. And then Then, when you've done that, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to leave it a like and consider subscribing to the Mirror Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date with even more videos like this. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.